a lot of you guys might remember that Riva Racing was the factory Yamaha race team for the longest time. And what that entailed was Riva would actually get a pretty substantive budget for the year, over $1 million. And that paid for the truck, that paid for the riders, that paid for everything. And they had a very stout factory race team for at least a decade. Well, then the EPA really started squeezing on two-stroke skis. And quite frankly, years of bad behavior didn't help out. And jet skis were being kicked off of all sorts of bodies of water. And I think we all know that. I mean, a lot of us know, hey, listen, the two-stroke thing was pissing off a lot of environmentalists. They were getting kicked off of lakes. We get it. Okay, fair enough. So then we see something rather interesting with Yamaha. Is Yamaha pulls its entire race budget in 2001. The whole thing, over $1 million. And they put it into a huge lobbying effort in Washington, D.C. to help preserve boating rights. This is with the American Watercraft Association, AWA. This was with all sorts of different environmental lobbyists and working with a lot of different agencies to preserve personal watercraft, preserve their investment, preserve the market, for goodness sakes. And to be honest, Yamaha really foot the bill for a lot of the legal battles in the early 2000s that kept personal watercraft alive. So it's hard for me to go, well, they abandoned racing to go appease a bunch of environmentalists, when I look at the environment or I look at the political environment and I go, all right, I get it. It makes sense. So I kind of have to play both sides of that argument. Hey, listen, it sucks that, it sucks that they pulled their factory race support team, their factory team out. But at the same thread, it's like, okay, well, they helped keep some bodies of water open and they allowed us to have some way, some sort of path to redemption with the EPA to allow us to have personal watercraft. So you kind of have to thank Yamaha on that end. So I preface this story with that information because I had gone out and I'd done a really fun ride on the St. John River and in Florida. And I did it with a group of about 30 people. And it was a multi-day trip. We went several hundred miles. Really had a fun ride. But we went up to one location. And we were all going to go to this little diner, this little waterfront eatery. And I pull up to the dock. And it's one of those docks that people have just taken their fishing knife and cut the rope instead of untying a knot. And when I pulled up in I had like an FX Cruiser 140, pulled up alongside, sucked up a rope, went right up against the pylons. And before I could kill the engine, the thing pulled like several inches out of the water. I was like, oh, geez, killed the engine. And it had just completely sucked into the intake grate, wrapped around the shaft, and was halfway pulling the Yamaha out of the water. We were like, oh, man, what do we do? This sucks. Well, thankfully, the guy had a boat trailer with carpeted bunks that were close enough that we took a knife, we cut the rope, we tied a dock line to the bow of the ski, we walked it along the shore, and we winched it up on the back of this guy's boat. We were able to pull it up. We dropped the ride plate, we dropped the intake grate. Thankfully, there was no rope in the pump itself, but it was all coiled around the shaft. But we couldn't cut it off of the shaft. So we ended up having to take out the pump and stator just to get the shaft out, and we could slide all the rope off the end of the shaft. Okay. There we go. So we put it all back together again. It took us about an hour. I basically used up the hour we had set aside for lunch. And we get back in the water. I'm all fueled up and out we go. I put that in the story. I also put in that the water levels were low and we were sucking up grass or wherever we went. So in my mind, I'm like, hey, that's what happens. It's a jet ski ride. It's a little bit of part of the adventure. This is what happens. Well, when that story went live, when it was published in Personal Watercraft Illustrated, they called up screaming. I'm not exaggerating. Like holding the receiver of the phone away and screaming at my publisher, screamed at my senior editor, screamed at me. They're like, "Oh, you've undone years and millions of dollars of effort by writing that you're chopping up all this grass." And I'm like, it's Florida. We do it all the time. It's what happens. I mean, hell, we jokingly call it, chopping coleslaw. It's like, okay, yeah, happens all the time. That's why Sea-Doo created IDF. It happens all the time. And this is like 2007. And they blew their lid. They were so mad at me. And they cut us off. They were so mad, they cut us off. And everyone was mad at me. And I was like, what the heck did I do wrong? I was just telling a story. They were mad. Oh, boy, they were mad. I'll tell you how mad they were. They were so mad that they would not give us loaner units. We wouldn't get loaner units. So I would have to go over to Mike Fulmer's shop, and before he modified his ski, be able to do a photo shoot with it, just so that I could get pictures. And so that's how I'd go do that. And we did that. I'm really proud of the cover, and you guys might not remember this if you didn't subscribe to Personal Watercraft Illustrated. But when the black and blue 2009 FZR SHO came out, stunning wave runner, stunning, absolutely one of the most attractive skis. But we had a beautiful photograph at night coming straight at the camera with Justin Standard coming right at you. And it was all black. We had a flash bulb that shot off the side. So it was all light on one side and dark on the other. It was really, really cool. It was a really neat photo shoot. And their reply was, you took a photograph of a watercraft at night. You can't do that. They couldn't say, hey, man, what a great picture. Oh, man, we understand it was a closed course. Oh, yeah, dude, we understand that, it's done for the picture. Instead, they complained, oh, you did it at night. So it's like I couldn't win with these guys.
Hey, guys, thanks for hanging out. This clip was taken from our weekly podcast that we record here every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to watch the whole video, you can go to the Watercraft Journal's YouTube channel, go to playlists, and then click on live sessions. You're going to see it there. Otherwise, go ahead and leave a like, a comment, and definitely subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow. And again, thanks again for watching our videos, and we hope to see you soon.